What's up? It's your man, Marv Glover.
And the diligent, vigilant, meticulous, sagacious, conscientious, analytical, methodical individual, the chiseled Adonis.
And welcome to the Hold My Nuggets podcast, here where we talk 50% sports,
50% real shit, 100% of the time.
And if you don't like that, you can hold my nuggets.
Suck my dick.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode number 21. And today is a little bit different for those watching at home. As you can see, we've had a change of scenery.
Oh, yeah.
Where are we?
Well, as Roddy Ricch would say, we in the box.
Oh, yeah,
we in the box. That's where we are right now. We in the yeah. I don't know the lyrics. I don't know. All I know is
yeah. That's it.
They must have been recording at some sort of car wash.
That's supposed to be it.
Yeah,
they
was
watching on the windshield.
Oh, yeah.
And then they got the sound.
Undocumented individuals, utilizing the wind wipers.
Yeah. We in the box. We in the booth.
Oh yeah.
We in the booth.
We so far into the box. I'm seeing services all over the location.
That you see once again.
Can you smell the secretion?
Every week, I have to remind you where you are.
Well,
this is a family show.
Is it?
Kids tune into the show.
Whoa, is that a fallopian tube over there? Whoa, man, we're in the box.
Tune into the show. You're not going to bring that here today, man. Have some respect.
I feel like solitary confinement right here. I'm not too sure what's going on.
You know what? You being as demented as an individual as you are.
I don't want to do what, people in solitary confinement do.
That's what I'm saying. You have, I don't know what's running through your mind right now. The jokes that are running through your mind, I'm concerned.
Boy.
But as for me, you know me. I'm a rapper at heart. So I got some bars.
Do you?
Because we in the box.
Okay.
Turn my mic up.
Okay.
I might just hit him with a 16.
All right.
You don't want me to start rapping. Amelia here, Amelia Earhart there. You don't want me to come through with the heat, huh?
Is that heat?
Fire in the booth.
Is that heat?
2 + 2 is 4. -1, that's what? 2 quick mops.
Well, you can't take somebody's lyrics.
I'm gonna just spit off the top and make it hot like the crack pot. Huh?
You gonna spit off the top?
Roddy Ricch, we in the box.
Hey, this man's
Don't stop me when I'm rapping. I might rap at you. You look nasty and dusty. I sneeze at you. Stop playing. Listen, I'm trying to tell y'all about me. I'm a murderer.
Are you?
If I wasn't a comedian, I'd be a rapper in the next life.
Maybe that's why we in the box.
You know what? I see what you did there.
Maybe that's why we in the box.
I don't know why we got this much energy.
If I had the Infinity Stones, and I had the Power Stone, since we in the box, perhaps somebody should get burned to death.
Why? Once again, this is a family show. Notice how
I don't even watch the show. I just saw one clip. I don't even know the brother's name. All I know is a brother got burnt to death in the box.
Who are you referring to?
I don't know. It's a dude from Power who got burnt to death in the box.
Oh, you talking about Dre? I don't even watch Power no more.
Hey.
Yeah.
Well, if he got burnt to the box, I guess the gods forgot about Dre.
Boy. I see what you did there. Once again.
There it is.
Have respect for the fact this is a family show.
Is it?
Kids tune in.
Is it?
And we hold ourselves to a certain standard here.
Do we? What's the standard?
Well, the simple is we're classy.
Are we?
You understand? We're professional.
Classy,
we're
professional.
Respectful.
Are we?
And we speak with a filter. You understand? Everything.
Filter?
Yeah.
What kind of filter?
Well, I don't.
Is it breeder?
Your problem is?
Is it bubble?
Your problem
is
you play too much. You joke too much.
Instagram filter?
This isn't the place nor the time. We have a show to do.
Do we?
You understand?
What kind of show?
Oh, it's only the hottest sports podcast in the world right now.
Oh, wow. We only talk, I thought we talked 50% sports.
50% real shit, 100% of the time. Well, I mean, the real shit is mixed.
Okay.
Into the sports.
Mélanger, as the Haitians say.
But I'm happy. This is different. I like this so far. This isn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. This is a little we'll be fine. We'll be fine. Yeah. We'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
But we are here today to discuss a plethora of things, one of which is going to be a little tough to get through. I don't really know how to segue into this. I don't even know if you know how to segue into it, because this one's rough.
There is no sorrow or monotonous, segue for what's coming up.
Yeah.
If I were to make a segue, it's only gonna be it's gonna be fucked up.
It is gonna be.
So
let's just not do it.
Exactly.
Not for this.
Especially with how I've been feeling about it, it hasn't really weighed. Or I should say, I've come to grips with what transpired. But
fire in the booth.
That is the worst sort of thing to say.
Well, now that I thought about it,
about who we were going to speak about.
No fire in the booth.
Oh boy, wow. But there were some individuals who can't say that. All right.
You want me to just introduce it?
Yeah, you go ahead and do that because
ladies and gentlemen, we are recording this podcast today on Thursday. I believe today's January 30th or 31st.
The 30th.
Earlier this week, Sunday morning, the world was at a standstill. Like me and Dave said, I don't know how else to broach this, so we might as well just say it. An icon, a legend, a Hall of Famer. You can go on and on and on. It's unfortunate to hear that Kobe Bean Bryant passed at the young age of 41 years old at the fate of a helicopter crash. Along with him, his 13-year-old daughter Gianna. I believe there were two more players on the team as well that were in the plane, their parents, and then of course the pilot. I believe it was 7 to 9 people in total.
It was 9 in total, I believe.
Right.
The 3 of the Antrobelli family, Carrie, John, and Alyssa, as well. There was a assistant, Christina Mauser.
Okay.
The pilot, I'm forgetting his name.
I forget. I think it's like Aza or Ava. It's not with an A.
Ara Zabanyan.
Yeah, there we go.
Zabanyan.
By the way, if we butcher any of the names, please we're more than welcome to get corrected.
Sarah and Peyton Chester,
right?
Mother and daughter as well. And I believe there was one other. There was 2 Bryant and his daughter, Zabanyan the pilot. Both Chesters, that's 8, and there was one other. And Christina Mauser. So yeah, those 9.
And I mean, you want to talk about the world being at a state. Even still to this day, like I said, it's Thursday, and it's still being reported, and it still doesn't feel real. It hurts. I can't even put what it is into words, but I guess just to start it off, I gotta ask you, where were you when you found out about the death of Kobe Bean Bryant, and what was your initial response to it?
Well, I was sitting in my living room, and I had just put out a tweet about the Rock Nation brunch because I was unaware that the brunch even happened.
I think you saw one of my tweets.
I think I saw one of your tweets where you had, I think, reposted something about Meek Mill's suit.
Yeah.
And you were simply laughing. But the first thing that I saw was, oh, man, it looked like this guy was sponsored by Pepto-Bismol. So I said, all right, here's the way I can broach, the Rock Nation. I'll tweet out, hey, I got kicked out of the Rock Nation brunch because I said Meek Mill's, suit looked as if it was sponsored by Pepto-Bismol, and Jay-Z kicked me out. And I tweeted that at 2:32 p.m. Coincidentally, much to my chagrin and the chagrin of followers of basketball, or hell, just fans, not even nationwide, globally, at that exact same time, TMZ posted that Kobe had passed in a helicopter crash.
Right.
Now, I don't follow TMZ, so I was unaware. I took a screenshot of my Twitter post and I sent it to you, and I posted it on Instagram. And the first comment that I had gotten was, "Yo, shut the fuck up. Kobe just died." So I said, "Wait a minute. You're not going to speak to me like that."
Right.
And but because that's not something you joke about.
Right.
So in the midst of me going to go and check him, which I did, I saw the news pop up on my laptop saying, oh, well, reports of Kobe passing. So wait a minute. And I'm still, at the same time, I'm still recording my Pro Bowl skills commentary as well. So I'm sitting here as I see the news, and it's just, whoa, wait, this can't possibly be real. And for 5 to 6 minutes, I'm sitting there just scrolling, trying to find where is a credible source, because it is only TMZ. There is nothing else. The minute that I saw Woj confirm it,
that's when you know it's real.
That's when the weight of what just happened came. Like, yo, Kobe just died. And then it became a scramble to figure out who else was involved, because it says Kobe Bryant died and there's others. And they said at first it was reported 4 other individuals. So I'm like, oh, wait a minute, is he with his daughters? Yeah. The first name that came was Rick Fox.
Right.
And that was, whoa, wait, Rick Fox, what the hell? And then I saw all of the daughters were on board. And then you heard other people. And then once it got confirmed that it was his daughter as well, that's when the devastation came in. But I was in my living room, man. I was just trying to make people laugh.
Yeah, that was the most annoying part about when the news broke. And, you know, a lot of journalists spoke up about this, was that because of how the magnitude of the news, there were so many different blogs and news stations and just reporters trying to get the one up on the story to be the one to break the news. So it's like one person is reporting it. Like you said, one person is reporting Rick Fox was on the helicopter. Rick Fox was nowhere near the helicopter. Then they're saying his whole family was on the helicopter. Then they're saying this person. And then they're saying, no, the daughter wasn't on the plane. So it's just just a bunch of he said, she said, and it made it even worse, because now to add on to the confusion and the overall like shock, you're over here like scatterbrained, like, okay, what the hell is going on? But all in all, for me, Sunday, I just got home from church with my family. I went into my bedroom. My brother went into his bedroom, and I'm getting undressed, and like my back is facing to my door. And then I hear my brother come in, because, you know, younger brother, you're a younger brother, but you don't do this. But for the people who have younger brothers, you know, when you and your brother have separate rooms, they're always busting in to say stupidness or whatever. So I hear him come. Naturally, I expect whatever foolishness to follow me. You know, it's Sunday, Power episode just dropped. Maybe he's going to tell me something about Power. That's all he ever talks about anyways. Door swings open, and my brother's like, yeah, so apparently Kobe just died. Naturally, I said what anybody would have said when they hear that statement. Kobe who? And he's like, Kobe Bryant. I'm like, yeah, all right. Just immediately shrugging it off. Because naturally, you know, you and I both know, because, you know, part of our careers has to deal with social media. You see foolishness and lies and rumors posted all the time. So he says it. I shrug it off immediately. And I'm like, where you? And then he's still standing in the doorway. I look at him like, where'd you hear that? He was like, well, TMZ reported it, and DJ Academics just posted on his page. I'm like, bro, get the fuck out of here. And then he just gets out the room. So I'm undressing, not really giving it much thought. Then I really stop. And I'm like, all right, hold on. And then first thing I did is I fly to the TV, because I'm like, if Kobe Bryant died, everything has to stop. News stations, I don't care if you're National Geographic, I don't care if you're ESPN, I don't care if you're the Biology Channel, whatever it is that you report, if that man dies, everybody has to stop to talk about it. First thing I go to is ESPN. ESPN is showing like a women's basketball game, I don't see nothing. Then I go to NBC, still don't see anything. Then I go to I try to go to NBA TV, but I don't. My plan isn't updated, so I didn't have no NBA TV. So I didn't see anything. So I'm like, bruh, lies. Then I go to Twitter. Madness, absolute madness. Like I said, bunch of he said, she said, things of that nature. I let some time pass. Then I go back to the television. Then I see it reported on the TV, and my God, I mean, this is. I was alive for the death of Prince and Michael Jackson. Now, when Michael Jackson passed, I was in middle school. I was young. I didn't really have an idea, a real understanding of what death means, nor the magnitude of it, because I didn't really know Michael Jackson like that. I saw the response or whatever there may be, but, you know, it just didn't hit me as much. I've never felt what I felt when this news hit, because even still now, as I talk about it, when I say those three words, Kobe Bryant dead, it just doesn't make sense to me. It still to this very moment, because when you think about what he is, first of all, now that the reports have progressed, turns out Mans was Helicopter Poppy, apparently.
Yeah,
would take apparently there was a story about how, like, you know, when he was training, he would miss in games to come see his daughter because traffic was horrendous. So that's when he invested in the helicopter, and he just took helicopters to and fro. Even Snoop Dogg said he took a helicopter to his house by himself. So he knew how to fly helicopters, took him regularly. So this was not something that was new to him. Kobe been doing this, right? And it's like, we still don't know the specifics of what happened. I keep hearing little reports in there that there were some safety precautions that...
Yes, there was a lot of fog. They couldn't ascend to a certain height. Because and then it was a ton of different things.
My thing is, we still haven't gotten a concrete report as to what really happened to the helicopter. Was it a malfunction with the helicopter? Did they crash into something while they were in the air? We still don't know. That's the main thing that I need to find out. There was an issue. Is it something that the pilot did? Because apparently Kylie Jenner also uses the pilot. Whatever it may be, Kobe Bryant is no longer here, and it just doesn't make sense. Because when you look at what this man is, when you look at what we're getting ready to talk about his legacy and things like that. This was a guy who lived life the way that life was supposed to be lived. A man who dedicated himself to excellence and just nothing more than sheer hard work, and just, if I say I want this, I'm going to go out there and get it. And you saw a guy where in a field like sports, and you know better than I do, once you stop playing, all you can talk about afterwards is your playing career. Kobe was at peace with the fact that he was no longer an NBA basketball player, and he was moving on to new chapters in his life. He started getting into storytelling. Man just won an Oscar last year for Dear Basketball. He had a venture capitalist fund or something along those lines, and he started getting into all these different ventures, and you're like, this is a man who's ready to take things to the next level. And he just seemed so happy. He was coaching his daughter's team. Life was good. Life was phenomenal for Kobe Bryant. And ultimately, we're sitting here talking about a man, an icon, who's no longer here. So I feel like I've said enough so much to this point, but I got to ask you, now that the news has settled in, it still doesn't feel real. But when you look at it all, first of all, what are your thoughts on just everything? And secondly, when it's all said and done, what will we say? And what do you feel that Kobe Bryant's legacy will be moving forward?
I'll say, well, it still doesn't feel real. Like this entire week, it has been a battle to sleep. Like I have been up and busy trying to take care of as many things as possible. But when you get ready to go to sleep, and it's you and your thoughts. So I'm just laying there like, yo, Kobe's gone, and this is somebody. And as you said, he was content with the end of his career and going into that next stage of life. This is somebody who did it the right way. Was relentless, unyielding, desire to get to the level of success, and still was pursuing. He never once cheated himself nor the game. May have cheated on his wife. But, this guy was somebody who went above and beyond to be the best that he can possibly be, and then some. And then to pass this way, it's truly, it's one of those things where you look at it like, yo, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. And at the same time, all you can do now is just admire the life that he lived and how dedicated he was to his craft. Because if you've got a dream, if you have a goal, if you have dreams and aspirations that you want to go and accomplish, that's the way to do it. You've got to commit to the commitment of consistency and go out there and grind every single day. You have countless photos of Kobe with a cast on, putting up shots. Kobe with a boot on, putting up shots. Rupturing and tearing your Achilles, making those free throws and walking off the floor. Mamba mentality got nothing to do with basketball. It has everything to do with your sheer desire and your will to be the best that you can possibly be. So for me, his legacy will be a legacy of excellence and somebody who went above and beyond to be great. Because you can look at the first half of his career in the shadow of Shaq, which I still believe Shaq was the best player on that team, regardless of the fact that by championship number 3, they were eye and eye. But upon Shaq's leaving, Kobe did everything to make sure that you understand, nah, I wasn't just riding on this man's coattails. I earned this. And you saw that in the 2 championships and the 3 consecutive final appearances. And then ultimately you saw him battle and then end up tearing his Achilles. But this is just somebody who was unrelenting, desire to be the best. You saw him win the Oscar and all these different sort of ventures that you mentioned. This is somebody who was he has that gene and pursuit to be successful, man. His legacy is going to be a legacy of excellence.
And it's one of those things where, like, if you asked me a couple weeks ago, just randomly, like, yo, how do you think Kobe Bryant is going to die? I would say, of old age. Like, it's not something you, of course, thinking about, but like subconsciously, if you had to, you just imagine seeing this like 80-year-old, 85-year-old Kobe Bryant sitting courtside at Lakers games, probably next to Braun or something like that, still just showing love and support, or just at a WNBA game, watching his daughter play, or like giving like commencement speeches at like schools or whatever maybe. That's probably something he would have looked to get into. He was such a great speaker. I wouldn't be surprised. But it's like, you could have asked me that question a million times. You couldn't get me to give you a different answer, which is why I think this hits so hard, because it's like, It would be one thing if he passed at 41 because, and Skip Bayless made this great point. When you think about a lot of the greats that passed, like a Prince, like a Michael Jackson, like and a couple other names, they all had somewhat of like as he said, a self-destructive element to them, to where it's like there was something going on towards the latter half of their lives where you kind of knew, death was on the horizon. So it didn't hit as hard. With Kobe Bryant, his life was beaming with potential. You understand? Which seems like a word you don't associate with him, but with the way that he was tackling on all these new challenges and adventures and things of that nature, it's really and truly what it was. So for me, when I think about what his legacy will be, and I posted about this on Instagram, and I still feel very much so adamant about this. Kobe Bryant's greatness was not a basketball thing.
Nope.
Kobe Bryant's greatness was a Kobe thing. This was an individual. It didn't matter. I honestly and truly believe that it didn't matter if he wanted to be a baker. It didn't matter if he wanted to be a car salesman. It didn't matter if he wanted to start doing Forex. I don't know. Whatever this man wanted to do, what he let you know was that he was going to put it all on the line and not allow for a chance for him to ask, well, what if? And for there always to be a statement of, no, I did. I put everything out there. I exhausted because that's what he said about his basketball career. And it showed. And it started to show in the next chapter of his. So for me, when I look at his legacy and how I know it'll inspire the next generation, it's ultimately us realizing that if a man that great, that dedicated, that excellent, that committed to just being the best that he could be, could pass so suddenly like this, what in God's name makes you think that tomorrow's guaranteed for you? Start the business. You understand? Invest in that project that you've been that you've been trying to invest in. Write that movie. Go on stage and do stand-up comedy for the first time. Go start painting. Go start learning how to fix cars or whatever it is. Whatever it is that you've been sitting and pondering, do that shit. Because today, really, whenever it is that you're listening to this podcast, really and truly could be your last day. And if it is, will there be a question of what if, or will there be a statement of I did? That's where I stand on it. But
yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely. Just to piggyback on what you said, that is what motivated me to get into stand-up.
Right.
And I remember we had this conversation a long time ago, because I would sit here and I always question my own mortality. I've always, made jokes about it, but it didn't necessarily become real until, recently, where you would see a ton of different people pass. And I think I don't get emotional. That's not something that I do.
Right.
But listening to Shaq's reaction to it, and he was, because he hadn't spoken to, Kobe since that 60-point final game.
Right.
At least in person. I know they probably said stuff in passing, but really sit there and have a conversation, that's most likely what he was referencing.
Right.
But how he spoke about all of those legends in the game, they're all old.
Right.
Outside of Pete Maravich and Wilt Chamberlain, everybody else passed away while they were old. I think there's a couple who passed away younger, but Wilt died a little bit early. I think he was about like 50 or maybe 49. Yeah. But Bill Russell, he's old. Kareem, he's old. Magic has HIV. He's still here. Yeah. Larry Bird, he's here. Oscar Robinson, he's here. All these guys were here. Your heroes, they were still here. But one of the heroes, Jerry West, he's still here. But one of the heroes who was amongst you as a peer is now gone.
Yep.
So for me, in my personal life, what I learned from this situation is truly cherish the time that you're here.
Amen.
But more importantly, cherish the people that are around you that truly do mean something to you. Individuals who are insignificant, it's a waste of time to waste a ton of energy on those individuals.
Right.
It's a waste of time.
That's what it comes down to.
Petty arguments, it's not worth it.
Right.
But for those individuals who you truly care about, if there's a relationship that's been bothering you and it's not being mended, if you got to, put your pride aside, put your ego aside and bite that bullet and say, hey man, I'm sorry. Hey sis, I'm sorry. Let's go back to the way things were before. And don't do it for them.
Right.
Do it for you. To find that closure within yourself and go in there with no expectation, just to clear the weight off of your shoulders. Because just imagine what Shaq would have been feeling like had they never had that sit down.
That would have been tough
for TNT. And I think about that all the time, man.
Right.
And it's what you should learn from this is just cherish your moment when you're here, because as you've already said, you never know when your last day will be.
So there's something else. There's a person, a comedian in particular I want to get into. But given what you just said, before I get into him, I have to ask you, because this isn't something this is something you've talked about briefly in the past, but me and you talk about it from time to time. You yourself, and you don't have, this might be a little sensitive, but you yourself have been in a near-death experience at one point in time in your life. I believe, was it last year or was it the year before?
2 years ago.
How did that change your perspective? When we sit here and we talk about this Kobe Bryant situation, if you had to juxtapose that with, I guess, where you were mentally and spiritually around the time that near-death experience. For those who don't know, if you want to tell them, you did get into
very bad car accident.
Very bad car accident around a year ago. And at the time, I didn't know. I remember I came to see you the day after, and you didn't have a scratch on you. To God be the glory. And then you were just like, "Hey, man, love you." I'm like, "What happened?" You're like, "Oh, you'll see." And then you uploaded the video later on, and I was like, "Oh, your car was literally like it was like a transformer caught mid transformation. It was crushed up like it was terrible. Go watch the video. It's probably still up somewhere.
Oh yeah,
but yeah." I say all that to ask you yourself. You look at you see what we're talking about with this Kobe Bryant situation. You yourself have been in a near-death experience. What was going through your mind, and I just guess you're internally for you around the time after that happened, in terms of your view on life and just everything else?
Because I made the reaction video literally about an hour and a half after the accident happened, because I made it within 5 minutes of me actually getting into my house.
Right.
And if you watch it, the concern is almost nothing to do with my own mortality. It's more about the other people that would have been affected. But what came to mind was the moments that I would miss of my friends' successes.
Right.
I was like, dag, I'm never going to get to see Marv Glover sell out MSG. I'm never going to get to see my friend get that cooking show. I'm never going to get to see my friend, go on and, coach or become a GM. I'm never going to get to see my friend become the best radiologist out here. I'm never going to get to see this moment or that moment. And damn, my parents are going to have to be at my funeral. All these different sort of things. It had nothing to do with me. So what shifted was my impact on the world has little to do with what not necessarily what I want it to be, but less to do with me, but how I impact other people. So while I'm here, I have to leave a lasting legacy that's bigger than just myself. Because you don't just want to be one of those in the way sort of people.
Right.
Like if I want to be great, damn it, I got to go out there and be great.
Right.
So for me, after that situation, it was like, man, I can't play no more games no more, man. And with the relationships that I'm with, man, when I'm here with you. When we're together, and I truly cherish your time. And I no longer hesitate to tell somebody, hey, man, I appreciate you.
Right.
Hey, bro, love you, man. I hope you go out there and accomplish more. And more importantly, the conversation between myself and my friends have shifted too, because no longer am I just talking about, nothing. It's always about, hey, man, how you getting better today?
Right.
How are you getting better? What are you working towards your goals? All right. You said you want to do this. I'm going to hold you accountable so you can go out there and do it, because tomorrow's not promised, man.
There it is. Now, before we close out this Kobe Bryant thing, there's one topic that I did want to touch on. This was actually based on something you had sent me. So we're both stand-up comedians in the world of comedy. And recently, there was a stand-up comedian by the name of R.I.P. For those who don't know, for the most part, pretty well-established professional stand-up comedian who came out with a video. Not sure how recently it came out, and I don't know, audio-wise, we don't have it available, but maybe in the video we'll cut it up and then throw it somewhere for all the people watching on YouTube. But
as I know, there's always a lot of hate, pain in the world, and there's always a bunch of terrible stories. And every once in a while, there's a good story. Good story comes out. The guy who got away with rape got his today. Kobe Bryant is a god. I'm here in Charlotte, the home of the team that originally drafted him. Maybe he wouldn't have raped that chick in Denver if he had stayed in Charlotte with the Hornets. But anyway, the point is, dude, it's like
basically came out in the video and was just like, all right, Kobe Bryant's dead. All right, rapist. Thank God he's out of here. Kobe's dead, this, and this. Basically mocking the death of Kobe Bryant. And later on, he did come to, I don't know if you saw, but I sent it to you.
I did see it.
Yeah, he basically made a 10-slide post where he explained that this is something that he did for his fans because he does dark humor. I actually I'm familiar with Ari's comedy. Actually, if I'm being honest, I'm actually a fan. I actually like his stuff. But he basically came out and said that this was something that he did on a regular basis with celebrity that he always comes out and does these videos because his fans want it. They like dark niche. I think there was niche humor, and they like it. And then he went into this whole spiel about how he's always hated the Lakers, and anytime he would do shows in LA, people wouldn't go to the shows because they would go to just a lot of rambling. But he said all of it to say that he was just joking. Yeah. Now, this is a very interesting topic for us as comedians because we, especially in today's day and age of social media, have to walk a very thin line of dealing with being politically correct while also staying true to our craft, our art, and our truth. So now, with the case of this Ari Shaffir situation, you have some comedians that actually called him out, basically like, yo, you're trash. And they're like, this was not it. Mm-hmm. So just wanted to touch on it really, really quick before we get into some football stuff. What were your initial thoughts to the first video? What are your thoughts on his response? Was he right? Was he wrong? Are you okay with it? Do you disagree with it? What should he have done? Just give me a full breakdown if you can.
All right. So for me, I was upset about it. I understand what he was trying to do, especially after the fact of him stating this is something that he does, because unless you're a fan of him and follow him, you would never know this is something that he does. So obviously it's kind of to go and troll, but my biggest issue with it was, had it just been Kobe who died, all right. But because there's eight other individuals, 3 of which were children. And families that are affected, because you're making light of the situation, you're also pointing humor in the direction of those families as well. And for him, when in his apology, he said he had no clue that Kobe's daughter was involved or the other families. That's impossible because when they broke the news that Kobe had passed, they also said there were other people on the plane. Now, you may not have known that it was his daughter, but when you saw the news break, it was Kobe and other people. Mm-hmm. So you have to be, in a sense, I'm not somebody who's sensitive to anything. I make fun of everything, but there's a time and there's a place. If you and apparently he made that post that Sunday, so it must have been immediately, like right after. Right. So for you to just immediately go and hop on, his Instagram story and put out a post like that immediately after, knowing that you're not just some, run-of-the-mill stand-up comedian that, nobody knows about. If you follow stand-up, you know who he is. There's somebody who, I believe he has a special on.
He has a couple.
Yeah, he has a couple of specials.
3-4 specials on Netflix.
Like a couple on Netflix. You're a face that people know, and more importantly, I believe your third show, I remember I had went to it, you had to leave early, but he headlined. Right. So I'm familiar with him. Right. So when I saw him, like, dude, there's a time and a place. Right. I understand individuals just chomping at the bit to go and get content out there. You want reactions and stuff like that. But this is something different. Not because, it's just Kobe Bryant. It's because there's more people who are involved. He timed it terribly. And as a comedian, you kind of want to get the response and you're just trolling, so I understand. But it's just the timing that was just terrible for me.
It was bad timing. For me, because if you watch stand-up comedy, you know who Ari Shaffir is. But the average general person could walk past him in the street and not know who he is. And that's a part of the problem. Because when he broke it down as if everybody and their grandmother knew that this was something. We don't, like, the average person doesn't know you like that. Mm-hmm. And especially with a story like this big that's breaking, when something like that gets trending, if I don't know who Ari Shaffir is and that he's a comedian, I can't assume that this is a joke, especially given, and me and you shared a couple posts like that, there are already journalists and people coming out here already putting posts berating Kobe and saying, he was a rapist, he was this, he's that. Now, if I already have that, right, sticking in the back of my head, if I don't know who Ari Shaffir is and I see this video, I don't take this as a joke. I take this as, you're just another person trying to sit here and shit on Kobe for something that was in his past and all these other different things. But even worse than that, when you go back and watch the video, even if you do know this is something he does, I've never seen the other videos that he's done that he claims that he does in relation to this kind of stuff. But for that one, if I had to look at that individual particular video by itself, there was nothing really jokey.
There's nothing there.
I'm trying to figure out where the punchline was, where's the premise, where's the thing. Like, what person finds humor in this video? He literally, like I said, I hope we were able to cut because I think one of us still has a video, cut it up and throw it in the YouTube thingy. But it's like, in the video, I think he said something along the lines, all right, Kobe's dead. Yep, rapist. Happy he's dead. I'm in North Carolina right now. Rapist. All right. Like, that was it. I'm watching, I'm like, where's the joke? Like, he's saying, like, this is a comedic thing. You understand what I'm saying? So, like you said, and I'm happy I asked this to you because me and you know when you're a very big fan of dark humor, but it's like there's a very thin line that you have to be able to walk with it. And if you're going to do it right. This has gone horribly wrong. You can't find a way to excuse this. I think that he definitely did try his best to cover it up. I also agree that it was a lie that he didn't know that there were other people on the helicopter. And I knew he was bullshitting once he started talking about hating the Lakers. And he, like I said, he said something about how when he would do shows in LA, people wouldn't come to the show. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
And more importantly, what does that have to do?
What does that have to do with what the fuck? That's what I'm saying.
Take
he's just pulling stuff from. He's just trying to find a way to soften the cushion of the blow. All in all, as a comedian, we deal with enough because we take chances in light of us trying to be the best at our art form that we can be. But in the case of Ari Shaffir, in the context of this situation, I can't defend this. Like, I can't sit here and say, no, I understand what you're trying to do, because quite frankly, I don't. Like I said, the average person could see this and not know it's a joke. They'll just assume you're just another dick that's looking to throw dirt on Kobe's name in the worst time when a woman has lost her child and her husband. People have lost some would say somewhat of like a father figure to them.
Hell, those kids, his other 3 daughters lost their father.
The other 3 daughters. I mean, man, this wasn't it. But,
and more importantly, the fact that what with the whole rapist and everything, because obviously with rape, if somebody raped somebody, I'm not going to look at it. Oh well, it's been 25 years since the rape. Get over it. I don't do the fact of the lady and they settled it in a civil case. It's not as if this guy got away with rape. The whole thing was it consensual versus not. And there was a misunderstanding between the two. But it seems as if the lady almost tried to get one over. Like, I'm not going to get into it to say who's that and all this other stuff. But to ignore what somebody had done afterwards and all of that stuff, it's just... It's
irresponsible, man.
Because there was no joke in it. It was just, I'm delivering the news. He's a rapist. He's also
a rapist.
dead.
He's dead.
I'm happy.
I'm in
Carolina. I do dark jokes all the time. You've got to be able to spin it to where there actually is a punchline or something. If you're just bringing me monotone news, but then you're jubilation and somebody passing, that's the wrong way to do it, man.
Right. And like I said, and for me as a person who's familiar with him as a comedian, when you sent me the video, there's no context around it or anything. So naturally, if I know who he is, imagine who the average person who's a Kobe fan or not a Kobe fan who doesn't know who he is, what their reaction to is. All in all, very just disgusting. But you know, you live, you learn. Hopefully, he's able to learn from this. I don't wish any bad on the brother. Hopefully, things work out for him. If not, well, deal with that on your own time. But man. Once again, rest in peace to the Black Mamba, Kobe Bean Bryant. Your legacy will live on forever, sir. We thank you for what you've done for the game of basketball. We thank you for what you've done for life in general, teaching us what it means to dedicate yourself to excellence in whatever it is that you do. You will not be forgotten, Kobe Bean Bryant. So, with that being aside, we got some football to talk.
Yeah, just a little bit. A little bit.
It's more than a little bit because it's a lot going on right now with Super Bowl coming up.
Yes.
Super Bowl weekend.
I see you're
Super Bowl weekend. I don't even know I'm hyped.
Excited.
My Cowboys ain't playing. They should really be excited about. Yeah, it's tough.
But we can just fire right through what transpired on Championship Sunday. I believe.
We got to start with that AFC conference.
But
the AFC conference, you can't just fire through. You got to AFC conference.
You were 2-0 in your picks.
I was 1-1 with you.
Oh, you chose the Packers as well.
Yes, I'm a little hurt about that. We're gonna get to that.
Yeah,
but. Let's start off with a game that we both got the one on for the W at least. The Tennessee Titans versus the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC Conference Championship. I don't have the stats in front of me in terms of how the score of the game, but ultimately the Kansas City Chiefs were able to come out with a dub and have ended, was it 50-year drought?
50-year drought, exactly.
And are going back to the
second longest drought in Super Bowl history.
I'm guessing versus the Browns?
No, the Browns and the Lions never been. So you can't really, although it's 54 years, they've never been to the Super Bowl. They've never been. So my thing is just who hasn't been back.
So who has the first?
The Jets.
Really?
They went Super Bowl III. They never been back.
Yeah.
And then the Chiefs.
Joe Namath,
they went Super Bowl, yes, and Super Bowl IV with Len Dawson. And they never been back until now.
Well, now the drought is over.
Yes.
The Kansas City Chiefs are going back to the. I don't know what the fuck that was.
I don't know.
I had a seizure.
You turned into like some sort of a
motor.
DJ. But I'll ask you, what were your thoughts on the Titans versus the Chiefs?
Man, I'm gonna early on in the game, I was actually thoroughly impressed with the Titans, more specifically with their first 3 drives, because you saw in their first drive they scored a field goal, right? Then Kansas City comes in, they're 3 and out. Then they come back, then they score a Derrick Henry rush touchdown, right? Now they're up 10, right? Oh, Henry. I mean, you can say it. If you want.
Henry.
Even though he's home right now. But Derrick Henry scores a rush touchdown on the second drive, right? Then on the third drive, after coming back from a passing touchdown from Mahomes to Tyreek Hill, then they match that with their own passing touchdown. Right. I forget son's name. But
I can't remember.
Yeah. All in all, I'm watching those first 3 drives. I'm like, okay, hold on. They were a team that was playing with confidence. They seemed like they knew they were ready to win it all. They came in with a fire, ready to go into it. They weren't afraid to use Tannehill to pass the ball. You know, you saw that they were using the play action as well very early on in the game. But then after that, I think it was when they shifted on momentum, where Mahomes had that run into that zone, going up the sideline, which, by the way, terrible defense on the Tennessee Titans part, because right before he got into the end zone, you can't tell me that you have a quarterback in a Patrick Mahomes that's surrounded by 3 Titans players. You know which play I'm talking about?
No. When he ran, that was actually before. There was a touchdown before.
Yeah, no, there was
Tyreek Hill had the shovel pass the first score,
right?
And then I believe he was wide open again,
and then he hit him again. Yeah,
and then that was a back.
But that's still, I still didn't give him the momentum. From
no, it wasn't, because they were still down by 3.
Right,
Mahomes' run
was the momentum
lead before the end of the half. Once I saw that, I said game was done.
Really?
Because I'll tell you this much. Kansas City has started slow in both of their postseason games.
Right.
But when Tennessee was up 17-7, what they should have done there was go for it all to try to get it to 24-7 and keep your foot on their necks. Derrick Henry only had, I think, 63 yards on the
69.
day. 69 yards on the day. That's not enough, knowing that he's the battery that engineers that defense.
Right.
So, I said the defense, their offense. So for Tannehill, it seemed as if once they failed to get into the end zone and Kansas City made it 17-14, I said, this game is about to be over.
Yeah, and especially when you watch that run, like I said, he to Mahomes right before he got into the end zone, surrounded by 3 Tennessee Titans players, and they were so focused on trying to force a fumble.
Yeah, to strip the ball. They didn't even
try and tackle man, that he just strolled in. You see him flex. I'm like, bro, no disrespect to the run, but you ain't really do all that much.
Yep.
It was more about bad Tennessee defense than it was about good Mahomes run. So that was very depressing to me. And then from there, it just seems like you said, they kind of just unplugged their control. They was like, all right, well, we don't want to play anymore. And once again, like you said, second slow start for the Kansas City Chiefs. But we were reminded how prolific and how electric that offense is for the rest of the game, because, my goodness, they did not take their foot off the brake. You had Patrick Mahomes on the day, 23 for 35, 294 yards with 3 touchdowns. I know 2 were two to Tyreek Hill and then 1 to Sammy Watkins, who on the day had 7 receptions, 114 yards, and 1 touchdown. Here's the thing about that wide receiving core for the Kansas City Chiefs. We talk so much about Tyreek Hill and, a Travis Kelce and a McCole Hardman. We forget about Sammy Watkins and what he was, right, with the Buffalo Bills, right? He definitely showed a flash of that in that game, and I mean, my goodness, it was absolutely crazy. And like I said, going back to the offensive side of the ball for the Tennessee Titans, even though they looked impressive earlier on in the game when they did decide to pass and use the play action and things like that and get Tannehill more involved, ultimately we knew the game plan that they had to play, which was stick to what they did to get there in the first place. Put the ball in Derrick Henry's hands and allow him to push the ball down the field so that you can kill clock and not give Kansas City the most amount of the opportunity to get the ball back quickly. However, credit to Kansas City's front four because they did a really good job of not only putting pressure on Ryan Tannehill, but also making Derrick Henry, dare I say, look normal. I mean, on the day, 19 carries for 69 yards. You understand? They did their job. So then naturally, when the Kansas City offense came on the field and did what we all knew they had to do, the Tennessee Titans were almost forced.
They had to throw.
Credit
to Frank Clark and the rest of those
he put
guys.
on a show.
Because he came out and
he put on a show.
Said, how they brought me here. And he came out here, and although at the end of the game you'll see, he didn't really do too much. No, you have to watch the game to understand the story.
He put that pressure on him.
This man had a relentless motor
on him
all day,
night.
bringing the pressure left and right. And you know what? All credit to that Kansas City offense. But I'll tell you this much: who should be the MVP for that offense? Not Patrick Mahomes. Not, Tyreek Hill, not Damian Williams, not even the offensive line. Travis Kelce. I believe he only had like 3 catches for like 20-some yards. But if you watch the game, they had Travis Kelce in near triple-double coverage almost every single play. Yeah. Because they gave so much attention to the man who had 3 touchdowns the week before, and rightfully so.
Rightfully so.
You left Tyreek Hill one-on-one. You put Sammy Watkins.
He saw it on that first touchdown catch.
Exactly.
Burned him.
And you see all of the second touchdown catch. But because it's a shovel pass on the first. But still, he outran him. But these guys, it's hard to run with them. Yeah. It's very hard to run for them. So all congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs getting it done to go to the Super Bowl. Now, in the NFC Championship, where we both got it wrong.
First off, I should have went with the opposite one because I was doing so well. I mean, granted, we both picked Kansas City because I felt like that was the easy.
No, you mean yeah.
But I'm saying from the week before, we remember how we had basically reverse picks all the way going through, except for the Packers-Seahawks game. We both agreed that the Packers were going to beat the Seahawks. But for whatever reason, when you picked the Packers, I'm like, I should, just for the hell of it, I should go and roll with the 49ers. I don't know. But you want to know what it was? We fell in love with what we saw against the Seahawks. Mm-hmm. For me, I think that's what it was. Subconsciously, we fell in love with what we saw them do against the Seahawks, so much so to the point where we almost forgot how decimated the Seahawks was, and we were reminded of who the Packers really were when they went up against a team that was a true contender in the 49ers. Because let me tell you something right now. What we saw was, as you call it, necrophilia?
Necrophilia.
It was disgusting what took place.
27-0
Listen,
before halftime.
But by 27-0 going into the second half, they literally came into the game and said, we are going to beat you playing old school football. We're going to dominate you on defense and run the football down your throat. And that's all they did all night long. On the day, the man of the hour, the man, the myth, the legend, Raheem Mostert. Do I have the stats? I don't even know if I have the stats. I do. 29 carries, 220 yards. Man put up Derrick Henry numbers. 4 touchdowns. Listen to this. 7.6 yards a carry. When you watch the game, the stats match what you saw because, first of all, if he left the game, if I saw him after the game, I would assume he didn't play because he did not get touched on damn near any of the one play that I saw where the defense stepped up and really put paws on him was at the end of the game. I think it was his last run of the game. Yeah. But other than that, the holes that were made available, don't get me wrong, credit to that the 49ers O-line, but my goodness, I mean, damn.
Green Bay's defense didn't even get off the bus. And
they didn't get off the bus!
It was literally what we saw in the divisional round against the Seahawks, where the Seahawks ain't get off the bus in the first half. It was the exact same thing for the Packers. Right. But the only reason why I chose the Packers was I truly believed Aaron Rodgers would find a way to galvanize that team. Oh, no. They ain't come to play because in that first half, Aaron Rodgers had 2 critical mistakes. Yep. The fumble, I'm not sure if it was the center who put out a bad snap or whatever, but I saw Rodgers look down like, yo, what the hell just happened? Right. And then the interception, bad pass by Rodgers. Right. Those 2 plays truly came back to bite him. And mind you, Rodgers, outside of those 2 plays, did not play a bad game.
I would also look at the fumble he had, not the fumble, the sack he took against Nick Bosa.
He did take a bad sack. He should have thrown it away. Yeah. But outside of those 2 plays, those turnovers, Rodgers actually played all right. But because their defense could not stop Raheem Mostert, you could not even try to utilize Aaron Jones. Nope. All right, Raheem Mostert's jersey was so clean. If you put him in Family Guy, Consuela would be disgusted of having to come to work because she's got nothing to do. There's no laundry to be done. At all. He can wear this next week, no problem. There's no sweat
Just slap the patch on him.
That's it.
Slap the Super Bowl patch on him.
Put on the Super Bowl patch.
And he's good to go.
He's perfectly fine.
And it wasn't even just Raheem Mostert, because there were 2 sweeps that Deebo Samuel had where it's like you're looking at this defense, you're like, y'all not gonna stop this man? I'm looking at it, I'm like, where the hell is this package deal? Where's the Darius? Where are the Smith brothers?
They weren't even here. This is the 6th time this decade in which their defense completely failed them. I think like 5th time maybe. But their defense completely fails them. Absolutely. And Aaron Rodgers, I felt he was starting to bring that team back, because when it got to a point where he was slowly bringing them back in the second half, he was getting a touchdown here, he was getting a touchdown here. But his defense failure to stop them, that's what cost him. It's the exact same thing that happened the week before with Seattle. Russell Wilson put together 3 straight touchdown drives, but their defense giving up 1 score killed the momentum. That's the same thing that happened to them, man. And unfortunate for the Packers. Hell of a win by the 49ers.
Hell of a win by the 49ers. When you look at it statistically, Jimmy G on the day, 6 for 8, 77 yards, didn't throw a touchdown or an interception. But guess what? Didn't have to, because he was chilling in the back, letting Raheem Mostert have his way. It was absolutely, and just to really put into perspective for you how much of a run-heavy game this was, let's look at the receiving stats for the 49ers, shall we? Deebo Samuel was their leading receiver, and he had 2 receptions for 46 yards. After him was George Kittle, who had 1 reception, that one big play that he had on the left side.
On like a 3rd down on the left side.
Yeah. For 1 reception for 19 yards. Then after him was Emmanuel Sanders, Pro Bowl receiver. 0 receptions, 0 yards, 1 target. Did not have to throw the ball because they did their dirty work on the ground. What's the saying? If you want to score, you throw the football, but if you want to win, you run the football. It was shown right then and there. It's sad.
Congrats, and it sets up.
It's sad.
It is unfortunate for Aaron Rodgers, 3rd straight NFC Championship game, at least in their appearances, that he's failed getting the W. And I believe in all of except you had a blown lead against Seattle, completely blown out against Atlanta, and this time getting blown out the doors against San Francisco. Truly unfortunate, but hey, you got to give kudos to the team that's going to the Super Bowl. And speaking of that Super Bowl, it is set.
We're here. It's a little different.
49ers and the Chiefs, and we're here. It feels weird, man. It sucks. It's the last game of the year. Football,
I know it's emotional.
So fast,
it's emotional for you. Yeah, you're such a football heavy guy.
Oh, absolutely, man.
Yeah. Our predictions are a little bit different, than what actually happened, because I think you said it was going to be Steelers and who? I
said Steelers and Steelers and Saints, or Steelers and Packers.
And then I think I said Cowboys and Chiefs.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you got one.
I got one. I would prefer the other one, but that's neither that's neither here nor there. Definitely next year. We'll talk about that another time. Anywho, Super Bowl 54 is finally here, ladies and gentlemen. The stage is set. Miami, get ready. This Sunday, February 2nd, it is going down. The San Francisco 49ers are coming to Miami, Florida to face off against the Kansas City Chiefs, led by Patrick Mahomes, to compete to see who will be the Super Bowl 54 champion. The golden question, the only question, the question that's on everybody's minds. It's been on your mind. The diligent, vigilant, meticulous, sagacious, conscientious, analytical, methodical individual, D. Chiseled Adonis. I'm asking you right here, right now, no hesitation, no overthinking, no double thinking. Who will walk away with the dub this Sunday?
Man, this is a tough one to choose, man.
It's tough.
This is a very tough one to choose, but you know what?
Take it out. You better not.
I have been feeling all week, I was going to roll with the San Francisco 49ers to walk away with the W, but man, that Chiefs offense. Woo! That Chiefs offense overcompensates for that defense, dog. And on top of that, their defense, say what you want.
It stepped up.
They stepped up back-to-back weeks and shut down surges. And because that's happened, and the 49ers, they ain't faced no offense like this.
No.
And I honestly feel as you're not going to go and just run all day like you did against the Packers against this Chiefs front. Nah, man. I believe in the Kansas City Chiefs, and originally I felt as if with both quarterbacks, you look at Patrick Mahomes, he resembles me of a Dan Marino. I look at Jimmy G. His right now where he stands, his legacy reminds me that of a Steve Young, and I don't believe somebody with the talent of a Patrick Mahomes will be Super Bowl-less. I don't think that's going to be the case. He will not be ringless. Take him to Jared. Take him to Zales. Take him wherever the hell they sell jewelry. Because I'm telling you right now, when it hits 10 p.m. on Super Bowl Sunday, the Kansas City Chiefs will be the Super Bowl champions. I got them winning this game. Who you got?
This is tough. I'm excited for the Super Bowl because I told you before, I think it's going to be one for the ages.
Oh, yeah.
But this is tough. Here's how I look at it. When you look at it, right, there's only one team going into this Sunday that needs to run the football in order to win. And that team is the San Francisco 49ers. When you look at the Kansas City Chiefs, I don't know if people know this, but going into this Sunday, the postseason team leading rusher for the Kansas City Chiefs is Patrick Mahomes.
Yep.
It's not Damian Williams. Their running game has virtually been a non-factor, but at the same time, it doesn't need to be a factor. Why? Because of just how vicious and how prolific that passing attack is. I mean, pick your poison. You want Tyreek Hill, you want Sammy Watkins, you want Mecole Hardman, you want Travis Kelce. It's absolutely ridiculous with the weapons that Patrick Mahomes has at his disposal. But on the flip side, you look at the 49ers team, their passing attack has, for the most part, been virtually a non-factor. Why? I think in the past two games, in total, Jimmy G has thrown for a total of 27 passes in these past two games, but he hasn't had to do more than that. Why? Because in the first game going up against the Vikings, where they shredded Minnesota, Tevin Coleman stepped up, ran for like 20 carries, 100 plus yards. He balled out. Yep. Then this past game, we saw Raheem Mostert did, putting up Derrick Henry numbers, 29 carries, 220 yards. He shredded it up. They need to run. If the 49ers are going to win this game, win this game the way that they've done these past two games and just throughout the entire season, they're going to have to score on at least 70 to 80% of their drives, because you don't want to find yourself in a position where you're coming from behind against this Kansas City Chiefs offense. That's the last thing that you want. And I think that's what's going to be the case, because I don't think, given what I saw this Kansas City Chiefs front four was able to do against the Derrick Henry, I don't believe that the 49ers rush attack is going to be able to get off the way that they have been able to do these past two games. So I think it's going to be a battle of the quarterbacks, where Jimmy G is going to have to throw for at least 30 to 35 attempts. And if that's the case, I believe he'll be able to score because he has the weapons at his disposal, but ultimately he will turn the ball over. I could see this game where he throws 3 touchdowns, but he also throws 3 interceptions. I could see that happening.
Okay.
And for me, like I said, if it comes down to where it's going to come down to a battle between Jimmy G and Patrick Mahomes, I mean, is there a discussion to have at all? So ultimately, when you look at everything, when you look at how powerful this Kansas City Chiefs offense is, when you look at the style of play that the 49ers have going up against this Kansas City Chiefs front four, all bets are leaning towards the Kansas City Chiefs, man. I think that after this Sunday, Patrick Mahomes will win his first Super Bowl, and the Kansas City Chiefs are going to come out winners 38-35 Kansas City.
Wow, that's an intriguing score. When I was making the pick, initially I was going to go and just choose San Francisco because I was feeling it. It's not that, and you said something regarding, the way they've won all season was not having to throw the ball. Like, they can.
They can throw the ball.
They can. They definitely can. But that team is built to run and utilize that playbook. Because I expect Kansas City to get started or early, it's going to be tough for San Francisco to make that comeback. I think they're going to try to surge and make a comeback, but just come up short. I think the spread will probably be about 6 points they lose by. So I'm going to go with 38 points is high to put on that San Francisco defense, man. Yeah. But, if I had to make a pick, let's say 30. I can't.
Because they ain't never seen nothing like this, boy.
Man.
They ain't never seen nothing like this. If they win this game, it'll be solely off of the backs of that 49ers defense getting to Mahomes. Right? You saw in that Titans game, they only rushed 3 majority of the game, so Patrick Mahomes damn near had all the time in the world to throw. I don't know. That front four of that 49, Arik Armstead, DeForest Buckner, D Ford, and Nick Bosa, I think they'll have moments where they do get to Patrick Mahomes, but unless they're doing it on a consistent basis, you cannot. It's going to be really hard for me to believe, because who do you double? Who do you double? You understand?
34-28, man. 34-28.
There you go, man. I'm trying to tell you.
Feeling, man. That's what I'm feeling. 34-28 in favor of the Kansas City Chiefs, man. Patrick Mahomes going to be your MVP. But I'll ask you this.
Yes, sir.
That we can close on. Whose legacy will be affected by a loss here between Patrick Mahomes and Jimmy G? Because for me, I don't feel as if, because they're really just getting started. In Jimmy G's eyes, it's just kind of like what I said with Steve Young. He's got that monkey on his back. At the time, he's got 2 rings behind the then considered GOAT. Steve Young had 2 behind Joe Montana. Jimmy G's got 2 behind Tom Brady. So he's got to prove to himself that he's worth the money and prove to everybody that he is. In Patrick Mahomes' case, if you get to the Super Bowl now and lose, man, you got a ton of years with that weapons that you have. So I would say if there's anybody's legacy that's going to be hurt, it would be Jimmy G, because it's like, hey, man, we paid you all this money. You here in the big game. You got 2 rings behind the GOAT. Go prove to me that, you know, they must have made a mistake trading you away. Right. For Patrick Mahomes, he's got a shit ton of time. He's got all the talent. I'd say Jimmy G's legacy right here is much more impact by a loss than Patrick Mahomes. But let's not say that they're going to be thrown off a cliff.
No, of course not. Come on, they're both still
if
early
we're
on.
talking legacy between the two right now, I'd say more pressure is on Jimmy G's shoulders than on Patrick Mahomes.
I would say more pressure is on Jimmy G's shoulders because I have more faith that the Kansas City Chiefs, regardless of win or loss, will make it back to a Super Bowl again before this 49ers team does, given how consistent this front office has been in regards to putting the pieces necessary. They have their quarterback for the future for the next, 15, at least 15 years in a Patrick Mahomes. We know damn well he's not going anywhere, right? But in the case of this 49ers team, we know what Jimmy G is. The talent and the ability is there, but of course he's no Patrick Mahomes, and we don't know how long they'll be able to keep all these pieces together. So ultimately, I think, like you said, it'll affect a Jimmy G more than Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is going to be good. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think, regardless of the outcome, I wouldn't be surprised if they make it back to another Super Bowl after this one within the next 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, I believe in that offense, but we've seen a ton of offenses, like, because when you talk about offenses beating great defenses, this past decade, you saw well, it started off with the Packers, going and beating, the Steelers' #1 defense. So that was one for the offense. But then you saw the prolific Broncos offense get completely decimated by Seattle's defense. You saw a great Falcons offense lose and blow a lead to the Patriots. You've seen a ton of these great offenses, come up short. So that's where I was a bit apprehensive, because no disrespect to the 49ers defense,
but that
all
offense.
right? I'm just leaning more towards the Chiefs offense. Right. I still believe San Fran's defense will show up and get some stops. The only thing is just the timing of when they do get those stops. Because if you down 21 and now you got to make those stops, I feel more comfortable seeing that Chiefs offense on the field than I do seeing, their defense. But at the same time, for San Fran, with their offense on the field, I don't feel as if they could score every single time. Right. For the Chiefs, I feel like they could score every single time, man. But that's where I stand. I got the Chiefs winning. You've got the Chiefs winning.
It's going to be a hell of a Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah. I am excited, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are more than excited for what's getting ready to take place this Sunday, so make sure you tune in. It is going to be, as I said, one for the ages. But as always, I am Marv Glover.
And I am the diligent, vigilant, meticulous, sagacious, conscientious, analytical, methodical individual, the chiseled Don.
And this is the Hold My Nuggets podcast, episode number 21, where we talk 50% sports, 50% real shit, 100% of the time. And if you don't like that, you can hold my nuggets.
Suck my dick.
Thank you. Enjoy the Super Bowl, and good night.
Have a magnificent night.